Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome to our coffee times. Today I'm here to talk to you about a movie that was just released in some selected theaters and also was released on Netflix on the 16th of September. I'm talking about The Devil All the Time.
It's coffee time.
So when I heard about this movie that it was gonna come out, it is adapted from a book by the same name, and it is kind of like a true crime story. And I was super pumped also because the cast was fantastic. So actually the day this movie was released, I sat down my ass to watch it and I do not regret it at all. Now granted, this is a long movie. I think it was 2 hours and 14 minutes. So let's review it and let me tell you if you should give it a chance or not. Before we go to the spoiler-free movie review, if you love movies, horror, you're right here, you're right in our coffee time. So please consider subscribing to the channel and also click on the notification bell before you leave. The Devil All the Time. It's an American psychological thriller film based on the novel of the same name by Donald Ray Pollock. Between the cast members, we will find Tom Holland, Bill Skarsgård, Halle Bennett, Mia Wasikowska, and Robert Pattinson. In this period drama, we are kind of exploring who are the monsters that are around us and the evil inside of people. We are following different timelines as well as different characters. On the one side, we have kind of like a serial killer that goes on kind of like a hunting spree with his car, looking for people that he can lure in and kill. On the other hand, we have a kid that growing up, basically what he saw was despair and violence, and he has grown up to think that sometimes violence is also the solution. The movie was really dark. The topics that are being explored are really heavy at times, and one of the things about the film that can be a little bit too much for some people is that you get basically a background story from each character that you get to see, which explains the length of this film because we really get to see a backstory for nearly every character, which can also be a little bit, you know, working against the movie at times, because basically the really main characters here are on the one side this killer that is he has chosen to be a killer. He selects his victims and he has pleasure by killing them. And then on the other hand, we have this other, you know, kid that has grown up just seeing crime as something that it's sometimes a solution. And so he kind of has been pushed to crime. For me, one of the most interesting aspects of the film was kind of comparing two people that had to do with some sort of crime in completely different perspectives. Like, you know, the typical question of is a killer born or made, or a criminal in general, because we have this serial killer and he has chosen basically to go out there. He has pleasure killing people and it is kind of like a choice of his. Maybe it's something he cannot control, but he knows what he's doing. And then on the other hand, we have this kid that grew up knowing that crime was something that could be used to solve things, and he's kind of being pushed to violence and to crime since he was a kid. And it's kind of like a really interesting, you know, take on the psychology and what can it do to an individual that it's actually good at heart, but all his life he's been pushed to violence. The story is being told by a narrator, which definitely did help a lot with the pacing of the movie because the movie was really slow, and it also helped with some scenes that were really violent and cruel, and it kind of helped to lift up a little bit that, you know, heaviness of the scene. The movie really uses 90 minutes just to kind of develop all the characters, all the backstories, so that's why I say it's really slow paced. And then in the last 30-40 minutes of the film is when it really blew me away, when everything kind of comes together, when we come full circle with everything is being wrapped up. And those 30 to 40 minutes were so satisfying to me. So for me, it was really worth it, like the payoff that I got after all of those slow pace building 3,000 storylines. So I think it was done with a purpose, because, you know, it was building the characters and the tension. And then there was a scene which was my favorite, around, you know, 30-40 minutes before the end, where two of our main characters have a confrontation, and it was just so amazing. Also, part of it is because the casting is so good. Robert Pattinson in this film is giving a character that is a character that everybody is gonna hate 100%, and I can tell you, probably was not easy for him to shoot some of the scenes that he had to do with this character, but also Tom Holland was fantastic, and Bill Skarsgård, you know, guys, I have a soft spot for him, but at the beginning of the film, which is when his character really gets most of the screen time, he was amazing. Like, he is definitely such a good actor. Honestly, it's not just because he played Pennywise, but also part of that. But he is amazing in this film. One of the biggest topics that this movie has is basically religion and faith and praying. And I think, you know, in this movie they are kind of using religion and faith as an excuse to justify basically anything that anybody does. It can be quite controversial, and I do believe that the pacing, together with, you know, some religion stuff that happens in this film, might divide the audiences a little bit on their opinions on the film. I am not a religious person, so it did not affect me in any way, honestly, and I truly believed everything that was portrayed in this film when it comes to religion and faith. But this movie is very uncomfortable at times as well, and it does deal with really dark topics that sometimes are associated with religion, so just be aware of that in case that you're a little bit more sensitive on this topic. Even though this movie does have a plot, and like I said, at the end everything gets so wonderfully wrapped up, it is a little bit more based toward the characters. It has wonderful score. I think it is beautifully shot and acted, so it's really a really nice film to watch if you are somebody that's interested in a more slow-paced kind of dark topic exploration of evil in the human mind. And one of the things that I also appreciated was that there is a part, like a scene, where they're kind of showing some pictures of some brutal crimes that were committed, but they're not showing you like glorifying the bodies of the deceased, like the murdered victims, like some other movies might do, just for, you know, the controversy or just to glorify the crime. But they are utilizing the negatives of some pictures, and it was so interesting to see it like that, and so clever. I don't think I've ever seen a movie kind of showing you that in that way. And I remember watching that scene and being like, oh, this is actually really working. Like, this is so well done and such a good idea. Like, it was very smart to show you everything like this. So, like, all in all, this movie was a very slow pace, slow build kind of tension that it totally paid off, because like I said, those last 30-40 minutes were amazing to me and I really enjoyed it. But I think you have to be somebody that loves true crime stories, that doesn't matter that a movie is kind of taking its time to building up characters and building up the tension for 90 minutes. Plus, for somebody that is not kind of too sensitive to really dark topics, and this movie, it is brutal, is violent, and it's bloody at times. So yeah, but I think most of the people that kind of are interested in true crime in general would definitely enjoy the film. So I ended up giving this movie 4 out of 5 stars because, like I said, the cast was amazing, the score was on point, the shots, everything. I really enjoyed it. There were some accents that the actors have to do, and I think they did a good job, especially, you know, when you think of Bill Skarsgård doing an American accent. It was really fun to watch for me. And the thing is, because they were showing you every character's background, I was so invested with all the characters. I was getting so entertained by the film, even though it was kind of slow. And the film does kind of jump sometimes back and forth between timelines, but it is so well done that you have no problem following up everything and all the characters. And I think again that the narrator that is telling you the story helps a lot with this as well. I think it's a beautifully kind of put together film, and it's such an interesting way of telling this story. So I would definitely recommend you guys to give it a try. Alright guys, so this was my spoiler-free review of The Devil All the Time. I hope that you enjoyed my review. If you have watched the movie, let me know down below what you thought of it yourself. And if you have not seen it yet, are you going to? Let's talk about it in the comments. Also, if you have any like really good true crime movie to recommend to me, let me know also in the comments down below. And before you leave, please give the video a big thumbs up for support. If you want to follow me, all my social media links can be found in the description box down below. And I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!